get it going. I love it.
I 100% agree with you. But before we dive into draft conversation, I know you and me are just talking about it briefly off air. The Carson Wentz trade has officially happened. Carson Wentz is officially going to the Indianapolis Colts for a second and third round pick. First of all, what is just your overall reaction to that breaking news?
Look, I think it's the best scenario for everyone involved, right? For Carson Wentz to get back with his old quarterbacks coach and Frank Reich, I think is good for him. I think it's good for the Colts. Philip Rivers retiring, they needed someone in there to kind of take over, And I think for the Eagles, I mean, this is the best case scenario. They get a third this year, which is a decent pick, and then that second next year for 2022 can become a first if Carson Wentz gets 75% of the snaps or 70% of the snaps and the Colts make the playoffs. So as long as he stays healthy, which I know has been a problem with points, I think he'll clear that pretty easily. So if you're the Eagles, you probably got your first round pick that you wanted, and you get a third this year. I think it just works out for everyone. I think Wentz has a good shot to kind of get a shot in the arm of his career. And I think on the Colts, even if he is as bad as he was last year, he won't look or seem as bad. They're going to run the football. Jonathan Taylor's there. So I think the Colts situation is going to be a lot better than the Eagles situation was in terms of the offense last year. So I like it. I think it was a good deal for everyone. And the Colts, they keep their first this year. So I think they could be real contenders.
Yeah, I would agree with most of that. I think also just kind of like the slight thing that people are not talking about enough is simply just getting out of that Philadelphia market. Because I don't know about you, when I ever look at Carson Wentz or just back when he was a prospect, a few years ago, I don't really see him as, that big city quarterback. Maybe he is. Maybe I'm just completely wrong. But I feel like he's not the type of quarterback that is best, built to kind of deal with all that, especially Philadelphia noise where everyone just seems to be at your throat whenever you guys lose a game. So I think going to kind of one of those smaller market teams, even though Indianapolis has had lots of success in the past, I think this could be really well from not even talking about, reuniting with Frank Reich.
No, I agree. I think that's been some of the rumors. I obviously don't know how true this is, but that he's not a very vocal leader. He's not one of those, kind of rah-rah the troops kind of guys. And so I think in a market like Philadelphia, that's who you need, right? You need the loud, kind of outspoken quarterback leader. And that's not what he is. And I don't think you have to be that to be successful. But I think that, like you said, that market could be a spot where they're kind of, you kind of get pushed to be very out there, be very open, be that face of the franchise. And maybe that's not what he wants. And I think for the Colts, the quarterback's always going to define the franchise, but I don't think he's going to be kind of the face of that team. I think it'll be Frank Reich. I think it'll be Jonathan Taylor, Darius Leonard. I think there's a lot of players that kind of build that team mentality there. So I agree. I think it'll be much better for him in the long run. And I still have some faith in him. Not that, he probably is the top 5 quarterback a lot of people thought before that injury in the Super Bowl year. But I think he's a starter. I think he's an NFL starter. I think he can be a playoff, turn a team into a playoff team, and with a good defensive run game, maybe even still win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think he still has, a lot to prove. Obviously, he was nowhere near what he was back when he first came into the league. Last question to you about Carson Wentz. This literally just popped up in my mind. If you had to bet on the over-under amount of wins, I know it's super early, but if you had to bet on the over-under amount of wins as Carson Wentz's first year as a starter for Indianapolis Colts, and the number is 10.5, do you go over or under?
I think it's a good number. I probably go under.
Okay.
Just for I think like 10 is a good, like 10 wins seems appropriate, and then there's always that chance of injury or something happening, right? That he's gonna have a few less wins. So I think they win. I think the Colts themselves will win 10 games this year.
How's it going, guys? And thank you so much for reaching into this video. If you're interested in more content, be sure to go subscribe, turn on push notifications, all that good stuff. Also, I'll leave links to my Instagram and Twitter up here above. And also, be sure to go follow the podcast. That is where the bulk of my content comes from. I upload to all the major podcast providers, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that good stuff. I upload to it all. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time.